Question: can you date someone with different political views than yourself? Answer: yes, it's possible. But here's the good part. There's always a but, right? There's always a but. Today we're drinking some good whiskey, so we'll enjoy this. Anything is possible. And if you go on Reddit, go online, you always find the 0.0001% of people who manage to do the absolute impossible, which would prove this whole video wrong. We're human. We have a lot of biases. We are tired. Okay, we're stressed out. And probably we don't want to take the time to continually learn and bridge that gap. So typically, let's say someone is more left-leaning and then their partner is more right-leaning. Is there a possibility of them meeting the middle and building a prosperous life? Especially in this political climate, which is fucking crazy, okay? Crazy. It's extremely hostile. Yeah, if politics aren't the number one thing in your life and you're not an activist, sure. You have to understand that if politics is something that's very, very important to you and you have a personal identity associated with what's happening that's completely bigger than you and out of your hands, and you take that dear in your heart and you find someone very attractive, but they have this one thing that you want them to change, I'll tell you right now, that's not going to work in the long term. No matter how much effort and time you can try and give it a shot, but you will come to the conclusion that I'm tired of fighting with my partner. I want my partner to be on my own team, and I want them to just understand what I'm going through. So let's say you get home from a very long day at work and something happens in the news or media, as it always does, and you're pissed off about it. You want to vent with someone who agrees with you, but if your partner is leaning a different direction or way, you start arguing with them. It's almost as if they are the embodiment of the opposing view and opinion, especially if you are emotional, which typically most people are when it comes to these things. Start attacking them and it's like, what is the point of this? Is it possible where you're both pretty moderate, but you both lean in slightly different directions and politics aren't that important to you? Yeah, that's going to work because it's not the core foundation in your relationship, and that's going to be fine because most relationships are built out of the idea that you guys have things and traits in common. You have similar goals. You have similar interests, and it's something to do with someone who appreciates it, right? You like hanging out. You like doing these certain activities because you have a partner to do them with because you're not necessarily alone. And that is extremely, extremely important. Versus if you want to be an activist and go protest, but your partner doesn't want to do that because they don't support the cause or they just don't care. Like, guys, let's be honest. It's just not gonna work. This is the politically correct answer. It's like, is there a way to bridge the gap and talk about your emotions and have patience and ask clarifying questions about what the other person means? Yeah, but that takes a tremendous amount of time and willpower, and that's something that we don't have. Most adults are stressed about life, have anxieties, and they think they're going to die, and they have so much fear because just the way everything is portrayed, you're terrified, and you're trying to deal with everything. And coming home at the end of the day, you don't have that patience and time. You're just working on such a low amount of energy, and you're like one thread from breaking. And to ask your partner, hey, babe, what did you mean by when you said this? Oh, did you mean this? Like, this is what like a lot of therapists and these self-help books like advocate for, but you have to realize that we're humans. We don't have that. Okay? We are so stressed out with so many stimulus. We have to focus and use these shortcuts and realize that we have a lot of pitfalls. We have a lot of traps. We don't have that energy to bridge that gap, and that's okay. And not every single second of my life do I want to be prove that I'm wrong. I don't want to be making a statement, explain it in 20 different ways so you can possibly understand what I'm talking about. Because I'm a fucking human being, and that's not going to work. Versus finding a partner who probably leans the same direction as you do, and they just get it. You don't have to overly explain. You can say, hey, look what X and X did. And you're like, yeah. Because politics aren't the number one thing impacting my life. And realize that, like, do we have any control in what we do when it comes to voting and stuff? Well, I would say yes, it does. Politics absolutely do impact you, but can I do anything to really change what's going to happen? Myself, probably not. Especially when I grew up in Colorado, went to school in California, and now I'm in Maryland. Okay? These are very blue states. My vote has not counted the entire time I've turned 18. It's never really mattered. I'm used to having my own opinion and beliefs and realizing that no matter what I do, it's not going to change. And I understand that. And I don't want to be the person to lead this movement. I'm just like, whatever happens is completely above me. Yes, will it impact me in my day-to-day life? Absolutely. But I'm not really sure what you can really do. And it seems like everyone's having an identity crisis when it comes to politics, and they're always on their their phone, posting on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and it's just so hostile. It's like, I feel their frustration. It feels like everyone's just extremely frustrated, and we don't really have an outlet but our close, network and ecosystem. So you see something that one of your friends posts that probably pisses you off, then you post something, and it's just like this, what are we doing? Okay, I think less technology, less news will lead to a more satisfying life. Social media doesn't necessarily always equate to more joy and happiness. And from my personal experience, okay, I realize that my personal experience in life probably won't represent everyone because it's an anecdote. It's my experience. But I hope I can share some valuable lessons you might find helpful. So in the past, I dated a girl in college who was a very left-leaning liberal who was like an activist. I'm pretty moderate. I lean towards the right a bit, but I just typically like to mind my own business. And while you're in college, you're learning, you still have an identity crisis, but I do understand what I believed in, the way I was raised, cultural influences, coming here as an immigrant, okay, not being white. She was white. And just coming home every day talking about politics is it's absolutely exhausting, especially when I don't necessarily care and kind of believed in the opposite of what she believed in, okay? Truth be told, yeah, you get to a point where you just want someone to be on your own team. And I got to the point where it's like, what are we working for? And you don't want to compromise. I think once you start compromising your values in a relationship, it's going to go downhill because what do you actually stand for? Versus like a partner you're seeing could introduce an idea or concept or hobbies, and your interests may grow over time. You may become passionate about it. An example, Hadley got me into whiskeys and cigars, and I got her into wine. Okay. I used to hate whiskey and hate cigars, but over time, I really developed a liking. I'm very fond of them now. They're awesome. And I got her into wine, right? These are just small little things. But when it comes to like legitimate beliefs that will tear your entire reality apart, trying to compromise that for some ass or for a partner, when you're young, it might work. But as you get older, no. I think the political correct answer of like, oh, well, let's work this out, babe. Me and you are a team. We are a bridge to the universe. We will represent the new generation of people who meet in the middle. We'll be able to bridge our differences and work it out. Someone may be able to do that, but I recognize that I didn't have this necessarily in me, and she definitely didn't, even though I tried my best to be more peaceful about it. But, when it comes to emotions and politics, people get really pissed off, and it was just tiring. I realized that it's not something I wanted to further explore. I was kind of firm in my beliefs. I understand the opposing view, and I realized that doesn't really resonate with me. And that's what my beliefs are. And it was okay to walk away, leave, and just try something new and find a new partner. Yeah, that was the truth. And do I regret any of it? No, it was worth a shot. I think when you're in a relationship, you think you are one in a million and you can make this work. If it does, that's great. But most of the time, just fighting is not a good thing in a relationship, because realize that we are two adults, individuals with different beliefs. We are tired, we have biases, and sometimes we don't want to just work things out. We want to communicate and realize that miscommunication is going to happen. Communication through words is extremely difficult. And just trying to use the right word to convey a certain emotion in your point, and someone may have a different meaning tied to that word or the connotation you're trying to use, then you just fight. So what is the point of this video? In this political climate, honestly speaking, when it comes to dating and whatever, it will play a huge role if you will allow it. And most people typically will have a certain point of view that they want to be in line with theirs. And some people won't give a fuck. And that's awesome. But something to talk about early on in your relationship or courting or dating to see your differences. Having differences is a good thing. But if they're too far apart, it will lead to heartbreak, and you're gonna waste a lot of time. You might be able to accomplish and do something better than I did, but it didn't. Politics do play a role in the way we operate and live, and especially in relationships, but it doesn't have to be the end-all be-all unless you allow it to. Realize that these issues are bigger than us. I'm just a guy living in Montgomery County, Maryland, that votes and that gets denied. It doesn't matter what I do. And I'm okay with that, because if I'm not okay with that, then I could move somewhere that does typically resonate with what I believe in. But I like this county. I'm pretty moderate. It works. Montgomery County has its flaws, but overall, I typically like it, and it's safe, and it's where I met my wife. That's cool with me, because I'm not letting it play a huge role. And nor do I care that much. Things are going to happen, whether I exist or not. And you have to be stoic about it, move on. But this rage, this anger of the other side's wrong, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But the divisiveness in America within our peers, and especially in my Generation Z, millennials, I don't know what's going to happen. There's no unity. There's no cohesion. There's nothing that's shared common ground. The shared common ground is hatred for the other side. I don't think it's ever going to get better. And I'm not sure if I have the answer. But it does impact us the day-to-day basis of love and who you marry. So I hope I saved you some time. If you guys want to talk about this further, check me out on Instagram. As always, wish you the best. Peace out. Namaste.